Have you ever stared at the ceiling of your own bedroom, the one you built a life in, and felt like a complete stranger? That was me, lying there at 3 in the morning. The scent of a cologne I didn't own, hanging heavy in the air, a single unfamiliar blonde hair resting on my pillow, and the chilling realization that my world was about to implode. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. My name is Mark, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all. It's a decent job as a night shift supervisor at a logistics hub just outside of Chicago, a beautiful home in Naperville, and my wife Clara. We'd been married for 8 years, 8 years of shared dreams, inside jokes, and what I thought was an unbreakable bond. My night shifts were tough, but they paid well, allowing Clara to pursue her passion as a freelance graphic designer from home. We were a team, or so I believed. It started subtly. A slight shift in the atmosphere, a coolness that crept in when I came home in the mornings. I'd kiss her hello, and she'd offer her cheek, her eyes already glued to her phone. She started talking about a new friend, Daniel, a substitute teacher at the local middle school. "He's so funny, Mark," she'd say. "You'd like him." He was apparently filling in for a teacher on long-term leave, and they'd met through a mutual friend. I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? Then came the little things. Her phone, once left carelessly on the coffee table, was now always screened down or in her purse. She started going to the gym in the evenings, right around the time I was leaving for work. "Just want to get back in shape." She'd smile, but the smile never quite reached her eyes. The humiliation began as a slow burn. One morning I came home early to surprise her with breakfast and found her laughing on the phone, her voice light and flirtatious in a way I hadn't heard in years. The second she saw me, her face fell, her voice hardened. "It's just Daniel," she snapped. "Can't a girl have friends?" I felt small, paranoid. I started questioning myself. Was I being insecure? Was the night shift making me crazy? I tried to talk to her to reconnect. I suggested a weekend trip, a date night. She was always busy, always had a deadline, or was too tired. Her coldness became a wall between us. I'd reach for her in bed, and she'd flinch, turning her back to me. The space between us in our king-size bed felt like a canyon. The villains, Clara and this Daniel, grew bold. They felt untouchable. One night I got a text from her while I was at work. "Thinking of you, honey. Miss you." It was sweet, but something felt off. A minute later another text arrived, clearly not meant for me. "Can't wait for him to leave. The house feels so empty without you here." My blood ran cold. I stared at the screen, the words blurring through a haze of disbelief and rage. It was a mistake, devastating, soul-crushing mistake. She had sent her lover the text meant to reassure me. She tried to play it off, saying it was for her sister, but the lie was so thin, so pathetic, it was insulting. That night was the breaking point. I sat in my car in the company parking lot, the hum of the city a distant drone, and I just shattered. The man who left for work that evening, the loving husband, died in that driver's seat. The person who emerged was someone else. Someone cold, methodical, and fueled by a singular purpose: to gather proof and burn their world to the ground. My strategy began. I was no longer the sad, insecure husband. I became an actor. I apologized for being distant, blamed it on work stress. I bought her flowers. I played the part of the fool, and she bought every second of it. While she was at her gym sessions, I was at work, meticulously planning. I told my boss I needed to switch to day shifts for a few weeks for a family emergency, and he agreed. I didn't tell Clara. The first trap was simple. I installed small, discreet security cameras in our living room and, with a heavy heart, our bedroom. The kind that looked like smoke detectors. I told Clara I was upgrading our home security system because of a few break-ins in the neighborhood. She didn't even blink. "Good idea," she said, scrolling through her phone. On the first night of my secret day shift, I didn't go home. I parked down the street, my heart pounding a furious rhythm against my ribs. I watched her car pull into the driveway. 15 minutes later, another car pulled up. A man got out. Daniel. I watched on my phone as he walked into my house, my home, and greeted my wife with a kiss that was anything but friendly. They laughed. They opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving, and they settled on my couch. I watched them for an hour, my hands shaking with a rage so pure it felt like ice in my veins. They were so comfortable, so smug in their betrayal. I gathered footage for 2 weeks. Every night I was supposed to be at work, he was there. In my home. In my bed. I recorded every conversation, every laugh, every touch. I learned he wasn't just a substitute teacher. He was a long-term sub, trying to get a permanent position in the district. He'd bragged to Clara about how respected he was, how the parents and the principal loved him. I also discovered through their conversations that Clara had been funneling money from our joint savings account into a private one. Thousands of dollars, my money, for their future. The day of judgment was set. It was the night of the school district's annual PTA fundraising gala, a big event. Daniel was going to be there, networking, schmoozing. Clara had told me she was going with some girlfriends. I knew she was going with him. I arrived at the hotel ballroom an hour early, dressed in my best suit. I found the event organizer and introduced myself as a concerned parent and a major anonymous donor. I explained I had a short, inspirational video I wanted to play for the community, a tribute to the teachers who shape our children. They were thrilled and gave me a prime slot right after the principal's opening remarks. I sat at a table in the back, watching. Clara and Daniel walked in, arm in arm, laughing. They looked like the perfect couple. My wife, in a stunning red dress I had bought her for our anniversary, looked radiant. The sight of them together sent a wave of nausea through me, but I pushed it down, replacing it with cold resolve. The principal finished his speech and introduced the special tribute video from a generous community member. The lights dimmed. The giant screens on either side of the stage flickered to life. It started with an idyllic photo of our house. Then the video began. It wasn't a tribute. It was a highlight reel of their affair, set to the haunting melody of a sad piano piece. Footage of them kissing in my living room, her laughing as he mocked the way I snored. Them in my bed. The audio was crystal clear. His condescending remarks about his students' parents, her complaints about her boring, clueless husband. The ballroom fell into a silence so profound you could hear a pin drop. Then, a collective gasp. I watched Clara's face, color drained from it, her smile frozen in a mask of horror. Daniel looked like he'd been struck by lightning. People started whispering, pointing. The principal stood frozen on stage, his mouth agape. The final scene was of them discussing the money Clara had been stealing from our joint account. The video ended, and the screens went black. I stood up and walked slowly toward the stage, my footsteps echoing in the cavernous silence. I took the microphone from the stunned principal. "My name is Mark," I said, my voice steady and clear. "The woman in the video is my wife, Clara. The man is Mr. Daniel, a teacher you entrust with your children. I worked the night shift to provide for our family. This is what was happening in my home while I was gone." The full, unedited footage, along with evidence of financial fraud, has been sent to the school board, the IRS, and every major news outlet in Chicago. I dropped the mic. It clattered on the stage, the sound and exclamation point to the destruction. I didn't look at Clara. I didn't need to. I could feel the weight of hundreds of eyes on her, the dawning horror and judgment. I walked out of that ballroom, leaving the smoldering wreckage of her life behind me. I never saw her again. I filed for divorce the next day. She lost everything, her reputation, her friends, her future. He was fired immediately and faced a police investigation. Sometimes late at night, in the quiet of my new, empty apartment, I wonder if she ever thinks about that night. I wonder if she feels anything at all. But then the feeling passes. All that's left is the cold, quiet satisfaction of justice. I didn't just get even, I erased her. The end.